Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott, I'm the Emperor of Stomaria, and today I'm pleased to announce that we will soon be establishing our first Protectorate. So first, let's address the elephant in the room, the haircut. Now, this was not my choice. There was an incident involved in my hair, and I went to a Turkish barber's to try and resolve it, and their solution was to take all of my hair off. So I'm afraid we're going to have to make do with this haircut. This is definitely not me in any shape or form, but I'm afraid this is what I'll have to have for the remainder of this year, I think, until my hair grows back and the familiar hairstyle returns to us. But just to put it out there, I am aware that it doesn't look great, but we're going to persevere. Now, I've just gotten back from the Kingdom of Wayward with my family, Empress Samantha and Princess Eleanor. We met King Raoul and his family there as well, and it was a lovely afternoon out. Princess Eleanor's been there, I think, maybe only once or twice before, but she's obviously a lot more active now. She's a lot bigger, so she's a bit more able to sort of explore by herself. And King Raoul's son, who's, I think, well, almost exactly a year older than Eleanor, he's very much a woodland boy. He's sort of rough, ready, and proper little adventurer. And he sort of took Eleanor under his wing and showed her around the woodland, and it was a lovely sight to see. Sort of the two families coming together. It's nice because people think that King Raoul's relationship with Stomaria and my relationship with King Raoul is just purely micronational, but it may well have started off that way, nearly 3 years ago. But I consider him a very good friend and vice versa. And this is part of the reason, I suspect, if not a large part of the reason, why I ended up making this video. Because at the during the visit at the Kingdom of Wayward, Raoul and myself, we had a discussion, which we've been having on and off for some weeks and months now, about the potential for Stomaria to purchase one of the plots that makes up the Kingdom of Wayward. Now, the rationale for this is twofold, I think. So, first of all, it allows us to acquire private freehold land, official Stomarian territory, something that we've been looking to acquire for a long time. And this is obviously something that we're very excited about, this prospect to have been able to find a suitable plot, which is relatively close proximity to us, not something that we can utilize every day necessarily, but something within striking distance all the same. But it's also a plot that can be managed, can be governed by King Raoul and the other Waywardians. I mean, they will still be utilising that land. So that's the reason, or one of the reasons, why we're going down this route. From the Kingdom of Wayward's perspective, this will allow them to not only receive a sizable amount of capital, which they're going to be using to acquire additional land elsewhere, a lot further afield. Sort of, Wales has been discussed, Northern England, Scotland, somewhere where the land is cheaper. Because for those that don't know, the Kingdom of Wayward and the Empire of Stomaria itself is based in the south of England, where property prices, land prices are very expensive compared to other parts of the UK, for the most part. And so they're going to be taking these funds, and they're going to be purchasing a larger plot elsewhere. But instead of selling to a private individual, or just putting it on the market, on an auction or whatever else, which is something that I did suggest they might want to do, because they would possibly get more money for the plot than they would through us. But the reason that they wanted to do it through us is because we are not looking to evict them. We want them to continue to utilize that land. And even though that they will be relocating the entire, or the main base of operations, if you like, to a different part of the UK, it might be, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours away. I mean, depending on where they buy the land. But they will still want to utilize and use the territory that we're buying as a base of operations when they sort of visit down south, because they have connections down there. They have friends, they have family, they have even work. So this is all connections that they want to maintain. And so having somewhere where they can sort of come to is something they're quite keen to do. And so with us purchasing the land, it will become Stomarian territory, but it will also allow the folk of Wayward, in particular the royal family of Wayward, to continue to utilize that land in a way that benefits them. And so it ticks all of these boxes. And just in terms of the details of this, I am speaking in rather hushed tones because Eleanor is sleeping in the next room, so you'll have to forgive me if I sound a bit coarse or a bit hushed. I just want to wake the baby. But in terms of the details of this acquisition, this hasn't actually happened yet, in the sense that I'm currently contacting the solicitors now. I'm just getting some estimates as to how much it's going to cost to do this, that and the other, and then hopefully we'll be pulling the trigger within a matter of weeks, certainly by the end of July at the latest, I should imagine. And then it's just a matter of, I imagine 4 to 8 weeks, I think, is pretty standard for land purchases. Assuming there's no complications, I imagine it to be done and dusted in a matter of months. But the reason I wanted to make this video now is because, well, we have already made an announcement about this, and the Kingdom of Wayward, King Raoul, has already announced this to their own citizens. They may make a public statement about it at some point in the larger public domain, but this is something we're very excited about. And even though I might be jumping the gun a little bit, I mean, something might happen, it might fall flat on its face for some reason or another, but everything has been agreed. The sale price has been agreed, the conditions have been agreed, it's all sort of above board, and it's all very exciting. And the idea for us is to turn this new territory, which we're going to rename, so at the moment it's the Kingdom of Wayward, which consists of several plots in that area. Now, we're going to be buying one of these plots, as I've said, which makes up about half of the Kingdom of Wayward. Now, we're going to rename that Southward. Now, the reason for this not very original name is pretty straightforward. King Raoul will be taking the funds that were raised from the sale of this land and purchasing land elsewhere, as I said, but it will be, either in the west, the north, or something like that. It will not be southbound. So that's where the term south comes from, and Wayward, wood. You see where I'm going with it, Southward. Now, originally, in my mind, when we purchased our first plot of land, we were going to call it something along the lines of Alatia, or Elatica. And the reason for this is I wanted to name it after Elena. So elatia, as in, to be not only just elated, or but it just rolls with the tongue, elatia. And Elatica is actually a fusion, and this is something I thought of, is maybe I could take the first, take the names of relevant and important Stomarians, particularly members of the imperial family, and take their names, and then take particular locations of historical significance, particularly in antiquity, and try to merge them together. So Elatica, as in Elena and Attica, which is a part of Greece, for those that don't know. Yeah, those are the two sort of names that were floated about. But because there was already a history in this territory, I wanted to link it to Wayward in some way. So Southward is going to be the name of the first protectorate of the Empire of Stomaria, and it's going to be governed by King Raoul. Now, for those that don't know, who might be a bit confused about what I'm talking about when I'm talking about protectorates, we have a system where we have observer states, we have associated states, we have protectorates, and we have provinces. And the differences between all of these is relatively straightforward. So a province is private freehold land that's owned directly by the imperial family and is governed directly by a member of the imperial family or the Stomarian nobility. A protectorate is land that's directly owned by the imperial family, but it is governed by the highest authority of another micronation. In other words, King Raoul will be governing this private freehold land that we own, so it'll be a protectorate. An associated state is private freehold land that's owned directly by the highest authority of another micronation, but they have freely decided to associate and join Stomaria. So the Kingdom of Wayward will still be an associated state of Stomaria, and Southward will become a protectorate of the Empire of Stomaria. And then finally, we have the observer state, where the highest authority of a particular micronation does not yet have private freehold land, so they can't become an associated state, but they nevertheless want to join the Empire of Stomaria. They want to form a part of its empire of commerce, of trade, of enterprise, of trying to reduce reliance on and contributions to the Micronations that we're a part of, trying to unify the more serious aspects of the micronational community. And this culmination of different micronations, micronationalists, and territories is what is building the empire, which is the Empire of Stomaria. And as I say, this will be our first protectorate. We have, as I say, the Kingdom of Wayward as an associated state. We have the Princedom of Moreland, the Kingdom of Silesia, and the Kingdom of Norwick as observer states. And this is a big deal for us, because it's been 3 years, and it will have been over 3 years, well over 3 years by the time we actually conclude this. But we've effectively, I don't want to jinx it, but we've effectively done it. We've acquired that land, and that's just very exciting for me. And as I say, I don't want to jump the gun with this, because it's not a guaranteed thing until we've all signed on the dotted line and all the rest of it. Something could happen, but bar some hiccup along the road, I expect this to be done in a matter of months, and it's just extremely exciting, because it's not just land, it's land that we have a connection to, land we have a strong affiliation with and have had for many years. I have watched the territory that we're purchasing grow and develop and evolve for many years, and I know the people who are going to be governing it. I trust the people that are going to be governing it. So it ticks all the right boxes for us. And sort of going forward, we will look at plots for residential purposes. We will look at plots for not just agrarian purposes, or for tree felling or conservation or whatever else. We'll be looking at a wide range of territories across the British Isles, because this is a part of the wider game plan to gradually purchase land around the British Isles. And this is what gives another aspect to the empire building that we're doing. It's not just one particular territory and then we're expanding outwards from there. It's going to be dotted around the entirety of the British Isles. And if you just imagine the Micronation that we're a part of, the UK, as this ocean with these little islands of Stomarian territory dotted around, along with the associated states and all the rest of it. You'll be able to see on a map as we just gradually fill in the blanks very, very, very slowly, and see it all come together. And it's just all very exciting. And I just wanted to share this news with all of you because, I mean, it's happening. I mean, we're accomplishing what we set out to do. And I can't really say much more than that. I will keep you updated as to how things progress, because it will be an ongoing process for some months, as I say. But yeah, I mean, we've effectively accomplished a milestone that we've been looking to do for some time. And I probably just keep repeating myself at this point, but I have to reiterate how important this is and how fantastic this is, what a milestone this is going to be when we finally attain this. Because, as I say, private freehold land is something that I consider essential for a micronation like ours to have. And as soon as we sign on the dotted line, Stomaria ceases to become purely a conceptual project and, joins the ranks of micronations like the Kingdom of Wayward, which have private freehold land to call their own. So yeah, I mean, I think that's about all I wanted to say about this particular video. It's not a very long one, and again, you'll have to forgive me for my sort of hushed voices and the sort of coarse voice, because as I say, baby's sleeping. But yeah, I'm just giddy at the moment at the prospect. So for those of you out there who are thinking about joining the Empire of Stomaria, either as a private citizen or as an associated state or an observer state, depends on whether or not you have private freehold land to your name, do feel free to get in touch, because this is just another step in the right direction for us. But we want to keep the ball rolling. We need more citizens, we need more partners to actually continue expanding not just our territory and not just our support base in a more meaningful way, but we also need more people to be able to engage in trade and exchange with, particularly if you're in the British Isles, but even if you are elsewhere in the world, because it might not be as economical as we would like doing sort of international exchanges, but they are possible to do, despite our initial attempt to do so falling quite squarely flat on its face. Nothing to do with postage and packaging or anything like that on our part, but as a story that's been well covered and something that I'm sure will be touched on another time, on another date. But needless to say, if you did want to become a part of the Stomarian community in some form or another, then feel free to do so through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.